Welcome back, viewers. Today, we delve into the life and legacy of America's second president, John Adams. But before that, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you get the notification of future videos, as we are making a web series on life and tenure of all American presidents. Don't miss out. Episode 2. John Adams. John Adams was born on October 30, 1735, in Braintree, Massachusetts, which is now part of Quincy, Massachusetts. This means he was born in the American colonies before the United States became an independent nation. He was a well-educated lawyer and a key figure in the American Revolution. John Adams received a solid education and became a lawyer. He became deeply involved in the American Revolution, advocating for independence from British rule and playing a crucial role in various political and diplomatic efforts during the Revolutionary period. John Adams served as the second president of the United States from March 4, 1797 to March 4, 1801. This means he held the highest office in the land for a 4-year term as the second person to do so, following George Washington. He was the first vice president of the United States, serving under George Washington from 1789 to 1797. Prior to becoming president, Adams served as the first vice president of the United States, a role that was quite different from the modern vice presidency. During his presidency, Adams faced challenges such as the Quasi-War with France, during which he managed to avoid a full-scale war but strengthened the U.S. Navy. The Quasi-War was an undeclared naval conflict between the United States and France, and Adams worked to build up the U.S. Navy to protect American interests. He signed the Alien and Sedition Acts into law in 1798, which were controversial and aimed at curbing political dissent. The Alien and Sedition Acts were a series of laws that made it more difficult for immigrants to become citizens and also restricted freedom of speech and the press. These laws were seen as controversial because they were perceived as limiting basic civil liberties. Adams's administration also saw the passage of the Naturalization Act of 1798, which extended the residency requirement for immigrants to become U.S. citizens from 5 to 14 years. This law made it more challenging for immigrants to become citizens, as it increased the time they needed to reside in the United States before becoming eligible for citizenship. He did not seek re-election and was succeeded by Thomas Jefferson, who became the third president of the United States. Adams chose not to run for re-election, and Thomas Jefferson was elected as the next president in 1801. John Adams retired from politics after his presidency and spent the rest of his life in Massachusetts. After leaving the presidency, Adams retired to his home in Massachusetts, where he lived out the rest of his days. He had a famous and at times strained friendship with Thomas Jefferson, but they later reconciled through correspondence in their later years. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson had a complex and sometimes strained relationship, but they eventually renewed their friendship through a series of letters in their later years, which are now famous. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson both died on July 4, 1826, exactly 50 years after the adoption of the Declaration of Independence, making it a significant coincidence in American history. That's all for today's video. Hope you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. See you in the next video, in which we'll talk about the life and tenure of third American president, Thomas Jefferson.